Common Council meeting for Monday, June 13th at 6 p.m. If everybody could stand for pledge of allegiance, please.
United States of America.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Vivian, roll call.
First District Councilwoman Monica Gonzalez. Here. Second District Councilman Lenny Francisci.
Present.
Third District Councilman Terrence Hill.
Here. Here.
Fourth District Councilwoman Stacy Winfield. Present. Sixth District Councilwoman Gilda Orange. Present. Councilman at Large Dwayne Rancifer.
Present.
Councilman at Large Emiliano Perez.
Present.
Councilman at Large Kenneth Monroe.
Present.
He's present.
Council President Robert Garcia.
Present. Clerk, any minutes of the meeting?
Yes, regular meeting, Monday, April 27th, 2020, special meeting, Monday, June 29th, 2020, and special meeting, Thursday, July 2nd, 2020.
Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Perez, second by Councilman Monroe. Any questions? Any no questions? Roll call.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Francisci,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Orange. Yes. Rancifer,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes. Any communications from the mayor?
I'm going to speak with that, or should you use my... Evening, Council. My name is Joe Allegretti. I represent the mayor. I'm here to speak about ordinance up for third reading, ordinance 20008, ordinance of the Common Council establishing the 2020 Homeowners Store Relief Program. It purports to be funded by gaming revenue contractual services. It contains no amounts specified for the program. There is no not-to-exceed spending cap contained in the ordinance. The gaming revenue fund identified in the ordinance is already earmarked for specific projects. In reality, this ordinance is an additional appropriation, which, as the council knows, can only be initiated by the executive. It is based, my understanding, on the Hammond program, but that program, which was enacted several months ago, was enacted by the Hammond Sanitary District resolution and not by the Hammond Common Council. The Hammond Sanitary District, in enacting its program, procured a $1 million credit line for the project. It inspected, in fact, personnel from the Hammond Sanitary District inspected all reported basement backups within 5 days of the May 23 event. The claim cutoff for under its program ended 5 weeks ago. This event, which is the subject matter of this ordinance, occurred 7.5 weeks ago. My message to the council is that the trail is cold. Any evidence of backup damages is probably gone. The ordinance purports to expect the East Chicago Building Department to perform claim adjustment tasks for which they are not trained and for which they lack manpower. Hammond Sanitary District, the program with which I am intimately familiar, started 7 weeks ago, has only paid out one half of for $500 checks for 1,800 claims presented. They do not assess loss, or the resolution does not require them to assess loss or damage, but only to determine whether backups had occurred. In the event they have determined that, the check for $500 is presented. This ordinance is bad, it is poorly conceived, It is a thinly disguised attempt at an additional appropriation, and the mayor will veto it in its present form.
Mr. President, members of the council, my name is Jim Bennett, I'm the financial advisor of the city. I just thought it was time that I might bring you up to date on, there's various numbers flying around about cash positions and how much surplus we have and so on. On 1/1/2020, I think Steve reported to the council that the cash balance at the city was 21, on the general fund, was 31 million, and I'm going to round numbers, $300,000. What was not discussed at that point is that there's approximately $8.8 million of outstanding encumbrances, in other words, purchase orders that have not been paid, that would have to be deducted from that number. That takes the number down to about 22.5 million. These are pure guesses at this point in time, but we got our June distribution, which was about over $3 million short. There's still some taxpayers that haven't paid that will pay in July, but I still believe there will be a property tax shortfall. I'm saying between auto excise, bureaus have been closed, average revenues will be down, the gas taxes are going to be down. The one that's really going to get impacted to us is going to be the income tax. We pay a lot of our police and firemen from the low public safety account, which is income tax. In my estimate, I believe that our revenue losses just in the general fund could be in the range of $3 million this year. That takes our subtotal down to about 19.5 million. With this May 23rd event, the mayor's been working with, I think, 2nd District Councilman and discussions with the sanitary district and asked them to report back to him where they believe these problems are incurred and how we can move forward to try and alleviate them. One of the big problems is a 9,000-foot, 96-inch sewer at Alder Street. They can only assess for right now the first 4,500 feet, and it looks like that it is not collapsed, but it needs to be cleaned and it needs to be lined. We can't even get into the other 4,500, so there's approximately $200,000 that will be spent to put in new manholes so that they can get to the other 4,500, film it, and make an assessment on what that damage will be. These are just estimates. They've already told us that to reline that 9,000 feet will cost somewhere between $6 and $8 million. Again, these are just guesses today, educated guesses. Then we go to the 2nd District, and Roxana. The assessment there is that the street sewer lines, some of them need to be cleaned, and they are now being cleaned. But the real problem is that when all those lines come together, they go into an 8-inch main, which is just not big enough. In these large events, that's just not going to do it. So we're getting estimates right now of what it would be to enlarge those mains and get that stuff out of the area. The problem is when you go downstream, then you run into the problem of the lift stations and all the rest of it. They are putting together numbers now that we believe could range somewhere around $7 million. It may be more, maybe less. If you take all that out of this estimated cash reserve we have, we're down to about $4.5 million. It could get worse, folks. We have been able to date, not lay off any people. We've been able to meet all of our requirements. We're paying our vendors in 30 days. We've been able to survive this because we had surpluses. If we did not have those surpluses, we would be borrowing money, and we'd be doing a lot of what the other communities are doing, which is shutting down fire stations and doing other things, and there's more to come. There's more communities that are going to be doing some very large reductions in the near future. We stand in pretty good shape right now, but these things are faced us. These are priorities the mayor said are going to get taken care of. So I just wanted to give you an update this evening. I'll be glad to meet with Steve and go over numbers. And as we get more current numbers together on the sewer problem, the other thing I want to talk about is this is the general fund surplus. I've asked Carla Morgan and Joe Allegretti to give us an opinion that says that we can even use property tax monies to do these improvements. There's a question about that. So, again, as those questions get answered, we get those opinions, we will be back asking for additional appropriations to do this work, because it will require that. And so we'll be back to the council in the near future with an update on all these numbers. Thank you.
Ms. Bennett, just the next time, anything in reference to sanitary, bring the doctor up here, because we invited the doctor to come up here to speak to us, and we haven't got.
On that issue?
Yes, on that issue, when he hasn't appeared before us, so.
Good evening, members of the Common Council. Carl Ward, Corporation Council for the city. I'm here to talk about ordinance number 20-008, 20-0010, and resolution number 20-07 on towing fees. We believe that all of these represent another overstepping of the powers of the council and usurping the powers of the mayor. With regard to the resolution on towing, in addition to our concern that the new towing fees actually will exceed the state caps on towing fees very quickly, there's also concern that it usurps the power of the police chief to oversee and manage towing providers. And that's the power of the executive that is both part of state law and is captured in our existing city code. Also that by state law can't be just a resolution, has to be an ordinance in order to, you can only change towing fees by ordinances per the state law that controls towing and towing fees and all that. We believe that ordinance number 20-0010 in several places oversteps the council's powers. But in particular, where it orders staff to fully cooperate, that's clearly stepping into the territory of the powers of the executive. We were here at a previous meeting to talk about what it would take for city staff to sanitize Heritage Hall, remove the athletic floor that's there, set up for your council meetings, and then come back the next day and return it to use as a park and recreation facility. We wanted to work cooperatively to try to work out a solution on that, but unfortunately we weren't able to speak and didn't get there on that. So we do believe that the council's attempt to order the staff to do that is overstepping and trying to take away some of the powers under state law of the executive. And we're also concerned that, you know, at the beginning of the year, every board and commission of the city has to advertise every meeting date for the year. It's under the open door law 5-3 et sec. And we think that moving around meetings and whatnot poses a very real risk of putting us in violation of the state's open door laws. So we're already litigating this issue, a lot of these issues, in the case of the mayor and the city council that's pending that petition for a judicial determination. So these issues are being added to that petition. And so until and unless we get an order from a court that has jurisdiction over this, which is the panel of Lake County judges that has to be appointed by Judge Parent, but until we get an order that establishes where your powers end and the mayor's powers begin, that our hands are tied and we can't move forward on the things that the council is ordering the executive to do, because we don't believe you have that power. So
I just want to
thank
get
you for
this straight.
listening.
I think we got a question, so I'm trying to make sure we all get an understanding as a full council. So anytime you override a veto, you're saying you're not going to abide by it, the mayor's not going to, hold on. Let me say my piece. The mayor's not going to abide by it unless he gets an order from the court.
That's not at all what I said. Where we believe that an ordinance or resolution crosses over from what the power this council has, and this council does have significant power, but where you cross over to the powers that are given by state law to the executive, that until the court determines where your powers end and the mayor's begin, or where the mayor's ends and yours begin, we're not going to do things that we believe are in violation of state law. We can't do that.
Well, that's the thing, it's just open to interpretation. The law is a law once we pass them. If you guys want to challenge it in court, the mayor is free to challenge it in court like he did the salary ordinance.
And that's what I just said that we're doing. So, again, it's already a pending case. We're amending it to add claims to it. And until we get an order from the court that establishes where the power is, we're not going to do anything that we think violates the state law. So.
And just one more thing, in reference to Heritage Hall thing. I'm not going to debate it, but as you see, this council chamber is full. We are all at risk here. The numbers are going up nationally in Chicago, Indiana. Us having our turn-in place is the best venue. Heritage Hall, they don't have to take up the gym floor. You know, it's just going to be a couple of us in there, that many of us. We're not going in there scuffing the floor up. We're going to walk in and walk out. And this pandemic is real, and us using Heritage Hall is right behind City Hall. Is the best venue to have it at. So
we certainly agree the pandemic is real. We know that you're having meetings over Zoom and that there's opportunity for public participation over Zoom. We certainly have devoted quite a bit of each of our time here the last 4 months to dealing with policy issues and try to keep our employees as safe as we possibly can. So we completely understand and appreciate. We also commend the public on increasing its public participation, because all the meetings I've been in since COVID began, only people that were here were myself, other city staff, and we had our state senator come to one meeting, and that's been the entirety of the public participation since April. So I commend the members of the public who are making the effort to participate. But again, there's opportunity here on Zoom, and normally this council chambers is nowhere close to full. We also made provisions for the first meeting after the governor issued his original executive order that if we had too many people to allow social distancing, we worked out a plan with Victor where he'd make sure that no more than what this room would accommodate would be here, and people would be able to come in and participate in public comment and all that. So we are trying to protect the public, we're trying to protect our employees, but again, that gym floor it will be damaged by regular shoes. You could only wear athletic shoes on it. The room has to be set up and broken down, but more importantly, sanitized. You need the PA system there. There's no system like this there. So the council would have to somehow get a system there where all the council members would have microphones and be heard. So again, that's when we were here a few weeks ago to try to work out with you all. But again, it's unfortunate. We do want the public to be able to participate. We want everybody to be safe most of all. But again, the park department has a lot of very specific state laws that govern how they operate, that kind of thing. So you want a judge to determine what the powers are. And so we're just going to ask the judge to figure it out.
Anybody on the council, any questions?
Thank you,
Mr. President.
Yes.
I would just like to say the history of East Chicago and City Hall was built, and Heritage Hall was built in compliance with City Hall. It was actually the hall that was there for the city. Human rights used to be in Heritage Hall. So that was a part of City Hall at one time. Working as a past employee of Public Works, at the time when events are happening in our city, it's normally the Public Works knows ahead of time. If you know that our meetings is twice a month, they prepare for that in advance to have it set up in order for, say, meetings, because we're not talking about a monthly, every meeting. This is just for the pandemic. But they have enough time to set it up, even if it's once a month, to be there, so that everyone can fit in the gymnasium. I think that once you give the schedule to the Public Works, that should work. I don't understand what the problem is of using that center. The center was there and paid for by tax dollars, but it's large enough facility to use. And if we know in advance, and if you give them our schedule, even if we go once a month instead of twice a month, just to hold a meeting there once a month to accommodate the residents, because things are happening constantly and residents have questions. The only way that they're getting answered, questions that can get answered is here at the council meeting. So,
Councilwoman Winfield, I agree with you. The mayor uses the centers all the time when he has his meetings at every center. He has every department head. It's packed, so I don't see what's the difference when he uses it or we use it to conduct business. Councilman Perez.
Yeah, I just want to piggyback on what Councilman Winfield said. Excuse me. There's a lot of residents here out in the audience. I know there's a few out on Zoom, so this meeting is of some interest. So it's important that everybody understands what it is that we're talking about for those of you that may be confused or not sure because you came in the middle. The council is asking, we were forced to ask for permission to use the centers to go out into the community to conduct a council meeting or to conduct any council person to conduct community meetings within their district. And we were told no by the administration.
Why?
So, good question. But the point is we felt it necessary to create an ordinance that would allow the city council to, by law, be able to use a community center, not for politics, but to go out and talk to you, the residents in your area, at whatever time a councilman may see fit. Maybe a councilman wants to brief everybody on a Saturday afternoon at 2. And doesn't want to put all his colleagues out, but he opens it up for questions and answers in his district. That's a good thing. I don't see what the negative part, but that is what we're talking about here. In terms of the ordinance for the flood relief, we're asking for $500 for residents that suffered loss during the flood relief. Man, they send their power hitters. They send, between the 3 of them, that's over $500,000. Okay, put it in dollars. Don't put it in what they came here. That's in dollars, what these guys make. To come up here and tell you what you're not entitled to. Okay, that's what they want us to do here. They want us to, oh, don't do this. The budget is, oh, all of a sudden the budget is going to bust. This year alone, the police department was anywhere throughout the year 10 to 20, depending on when you look, police officers short. Every police officer, roughly ballpark, you can say with training, salary, benefits, and everything, budget-wise for the first year about $100,000, 90 to 100 grand. That's all how they got it. That's all how, excuse me, I have the floor. I have the floor, Councilwoman Orange.
You have to wait till the order.
I have the council, I have the floor.
Point of order.
These are all how they have gotten their surplus.
Councilman Perez.
Okay, so now they don't want to give a little bit of flood relief to the residents of East Chicago. I disagree with that.
Any other?
First about the use of the centers. I'm all for use of our Heritage Hall, but then we have other centers too, like Martin Luther King. They say we
Can't hear you.
I say I'm all for the use of a Heritage Hall. However, we have other centers too in the community, which I think we should also utilize as well for the community. And with the towing, it's 2 different ordinances here with the towing that made me kind of confused. So I think we need to discuss that a little further. And with the $500, I'm all for that as well, because a lot of us got damage to our homes. Although it's been a month since we tried to resolve this issue, I think if we had jumped on this right away, it wouldn't have been no brainer, and we should get it done. But I'm all for helping the community any way we possibly can. And I know the administration doesn't want us to be that way, but we have to look out for the community, and I'm all for the community, and especially my bird district.
I just want to reiterate what Councilman Winfield said. Today is a perfect example of why we need more space. We have to set up every meeting, whether people come or not, just with the council and the clerk's office and our advisors for 14 people. That's minimum. Now we had over 15 people here in the audience, and I don't think people realize what we have to set up for every time. And who's to say maybe we'll have one person next council meeting, but that does not matter. We have to be able to accommodate whoever comes. So I just want to reiterate that it's a packed house tonight because people are getting involved and they think what's important, and people, they want to speak their mind, and that's what this is about, letting people speak their mind and having the space to do it.
Any other questions?
Yes, first of all, I'll follow the agenda or not, because we just all over the place. Those residents, the resolution nor the ordinance have come up. And I'm all for Heritage Hall. If people aren't having parties and councilmen aren't having meetings at their houses and stuff, if we talk about social distancing and keeping people safe, then you can't have it both ways. You can't have the parties and everything and then turn around and have 30, 40 people at your house for a meeting and then saying you're social distancing and then want to make sure that we have a place big enough. If this situation had not come up with sanitation and this ordinance, and I'm sure that these people were told that this was coming up, that most of the time the council chambers is empty. So I know that you have to set up, but we usually know when it's going to be a large meeting or not, because folks call people to tell them to come up there. So I'm just saying that when you're making your argument, you got to make sure that your house is clean, that you have not done stuff on the thing to keep that could have infected other people, and you're saying that the reason why you're doing it at Heritage Hall is so that everybody doesn't get infected.
Ms. Orange, we had 3 people for communication to the mayor. We all have a right to rebuttal whatever they said. Okay, and that's what we did. So we are on the agenda. Any other questions? Any communication from department heads? Yes, name?
No, I just want to say I think it's a disrespect that you have the city attorneys, while one of our council colleagues were talking, they just all walk out. I think that's very disrespectful. You hear them talk, but then they're not going to stick around and hear what's going on. That's very disrespectful.
Yes, it is.
I agree, Councilman Franciski. Any other questions, Councilman?
They never show up like
Hearing
that.
none. Communication from department heads?
Yes, accounts payable warrant 071320CC, 061720CC, 070920CC, and 071320LA.
Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Perez, seconded by Councilman Ransford. Any questions? Hearing no questions, roll call.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Franciski,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Rancifer,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Monroe,
He said yes.
Garcia.
No.
Payroll warrant bi-weekly 062620 and payroll warrant miscellaneous 062620.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Franciski, seconded by Councilman Perez. Any questions? No questions, roll call.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Franciski,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Rancifer,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Monroe,
You said yes.
Garcia.
Yes. Any committee reports? Any committee reports? Just want to let everybody know I'm having a public safety meeting Thursday at 5:30 here in the council chambers. It's also going to be on Zoom. The reason I called it, we had a rash of shootings within the last week and a half. Quite a few. It's disturbing. A lot of car break-ins also, but we had a lot of shootings, and it's real alarming to me. So I'm calling a meeting Thursday to reference that, and also the police and firemen salary ordinance. It's Thursday, 5:30 in the council chambers. And any board reports? We don't have none on first and second reading. Anything on third reading?
Yes, ordinance 20-0008, sponsored Councilman Emiliano Perez, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of East Chicago, Indiana, establishing the 2020 Homeowner Storm Relief Program.
Is there a motion on the floor?
So move on third reading.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Franciski, seconded by Councilwoman Gonzalez. Any questions?
Yes.
Yes. Councilwoman Orange.
Just to let you know, the Zoom is going in and out, so in case I get cut off. Councilman Perez we did have a committee meeting, and I thank him for that, but it kind of left more questions than answers, because everybody will not be able to tap into the $500 amount.
Why not?
You got people that will not be able to have pictures or didn't save any receipts and everything. They would not be able to get anything. As we have stated before, a lot of the elderly did not know to save receipts. Councilman Perez said he didn't have a problem with telling people no if they didn't qualify, but he won't be the one telling people no. It will be the building department that will be telling them no. We don't have a guidelines for the building department on what they're looking for, what they should see when they get there. How do that person prove that they did actually have a flood? The sanitation department did not keep a lot of records of who got picked up, because everybody did not call and have them go to their alley and pick it up. They just went down the alley, large debris, they picked everybody's up. So they don't have a record of who all had debris outside to prove that they even had the flood. And that's my concern. A lot of the older people will not be able to get into this. Some people won't be able to get into it at all because they didn't keep it. I mean, here we are going at 3 months, and a lot of people have cleaned up and done. There's nothing in this ordinance that said that they got their insurance. If we were still paying the $500, if that was a thing. We don't have a date in here. There's a cutoff date of when they have to bring their information in. Councilman Perez did mention 30 days, but it's not in this ordinance at all to say that they have 30 days after this is passed or not, but they have 30 days in order to bring in the information, provide the information. It's a cutoff after 30 days. So like I said, there's still a lot of questions in this ordinance.
Councilman Perez?
Mr. Buscemi, did you send a copy of the amendment to all the council members? Can't hear you, John.
Yes. Councilman Perez, Mr. President, members of the council, and Councilwoman Orange, the amended version that was directed by Councilman Perez that places the 30-day deadline for applications and also prohibits storm relief payments for any costs that have been previously recovered by the homeowner from the homeowner's insurance. That was emailed to all members of the council today. So the version that the council is discussing and the version that the council should be voting on now on the third reading motion should be the 20-0008 as amended, which includes those two amendments, a 30-day application deadline, and no payments if the homeowner has been reimbursed for those same costs by insurance.
Yes, I apologize for any confusion. It should have been stated that we were voting on the ordinance as amended, and we didn't do that. So we stand corrected, and we're voting on the motion as amended.
Attorney Buscemi, can we go that the way it was said?
Mr. President, what was that, sir?
Can we continue the way it was motion?
Yes, the council should just make it clear as a matter of record that the third reading vote that will be conducted is a vote on ordinance 20-0008 as amended.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yes, I just still have one comment.
Yes,
Like I
Councilwoman
said,
Orange.
my still concerns are the people that are going to be left out of this ordinance, that are not going to be able to get it, because, like I said, there is no clear guidelines what the building department is supposed to be looking for. And I just think there's a lot of older people are going to be left out of this and be told no, that they're not going to be able to get the $500. And that's my objection to all of this.
Any other questions? Hearing no questions, roll call.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Franciski,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Orange,
No.
Ransford,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Monroe, Garcia.
Yes, motion passes. Any resolutions? Clerk, any resolutions?
No, there's no resolution, but there's a resolution, a consideration of resolution 20-0007 vetoed by the mayor.
Is there a motion on the floor?
A motion, take a vote on the override of veto.
Motion made by Councilman Perez. Is there a second? No second. We'll continue. Old business. Old business. Any old business? New business. Anybody has new business?
Yeah, I have a minute, Mr. President.
Yes.
Who's talking?
JR, I was just wondering, are we start looking into next year's budget before we get to that, close time like we did last time? So we can be ahead of our.
Yes, sir, Councilman Monroe. I've been meeting regularly with the Finance Committee and with Steve Dalton, and we are preparing to start seeing department heads. So we are on it, sir.
Thank you.
Any other new business? One of the new business I want to.
Yeah, I got something, Robert.
All right. I got Councilman Gonzalez first, and then you be next. Go ahead.
I just have a question. It's for Attorney Buscemi. I wanted clarification on a statement that Attorney Morgan stated about, and it sounded like anything that the mayor didn't feel that was stepping over our bounds as a body, that he is seeking court assistance. Are you able to tell us, or do they notify you exactly what issues those are? Because it sounds like that everything we pass, he's not, or he's getting clarification on it through the courts. Do you have notification of that?
No, I've received no notification that any other matter, such as ordinance 20-10, the city council use of city building meeting rooms, or resolution 2007 on the towing fees and towing procedures, or ordinance 2008, the storm the 2020 storm relief ordinance, no communication on those or any other matters that the mayor is seeking a court determination on. I heard the same comments that you did, Councilwoman, and if the mayor receives advice in the future that matters such as those three matters should be ignored by the mayor if passed by the council, that would not be sound legal advice, and that would be improper conduct by the mayor if these matters are enacted by the council to disregard them because they are laws of the city and no one is above the law of the city.
That's right.
I have another question with that. Are they obligated, is Attorney Morgan obligated to tell you which ordinances or resolutions that they're seeking clarification through the courts? Or, because I would like to be notified of anything that's going, but I'm not sure if they're obligated to do so.
Yes, they're legally obligated to do so, and the only matter, and we won't discuss it in detail, but the only matter that you and the members of the council know that the mayor is seeking a judicial determination of legal authority on, that's in the courts right now, is the previously passed ordinance that the council passed over the veto of the mayor pertaining to the work schedule for firefighters. Other than that matter and that ordinance, which has not been complied with by the city administration, despite the fact that it's validly enacted by the city council. That matter is in court for a judicial determination of whether the council has the authority to enact such an ordinance. We have received no legal notice that any other matter is being brought for a judicial determination. That may come in the future, but this is the first that I have heard, just as you, Councilwoman, this evening, that the mayor is receiving advice and that the mayor may also bring other matters for a judicial determination. I hope that doesn't happen, but we'll have to just wait and see what happens.
Thank you.
Councilman Francisci?
Yeah, I just want to let the residents know that this Saturday, July 18th, is a Roxana Community Yard Sale from 8 to 4. The rain date would be Sunday the 19th, just in case it does rain. So please come on down and spend some of that money.
Any other councilman new business? Just want to reiterate what Attorney Buscemi said. I think is bad that the mayor is acting the way he is. If he doesn't get his way, he doesn't control his council. He's just not going to listen to us pass an ordinance or resolution and then take it straight to court. So I think my door has been open. I have not received one phone call from him. I have not received one phone call from the chief of staff. Reference the ordinance, reference Heritage Hall, the towing ordinance. Nothing, not one phone call. I sent emails to the mayor's office and the chief of staff. They always come back unresponsive. So I know this council has reached out to him. I know an individual councilman has reached out and has got no response or unfavorable response. I think it's just he's not working well with this council, and he shouldn't control this council. Nope. At all. One thing I want to bring up too also, I have a resident in the 5th District. She got a bill from Superior Ambulance. She had a sprained ankle. All right. And from Broadway, in the harbor, Broadway Parish to the hospital, they charge her $1,674. Oh, God. That's outrageous. What's more outrageous is that I find out that the mayor subsidizes them, gives this company $100,000 a year to stay in town. You know, to me, that's a disgrace. They're charging them these amounts to the residents, and here we have our mayor that gives them $100,000 a year to stay in business, and we have all this business here that is suffering, our small businesses here. Attorney Buscemi, if you could write a letter to Superior and the mayor reference this contract and why they charging so much for their services, please. Any other questions? No questions? It goes into our public expression portion. I just want to remind everybody, everybody had 3 minutes. Please be respectful of the council and everybody else. Margaret Rakova.
I come here, I live on 3820 Grand Boulevard. Last year my granddaughter was murdered and the cameras weren't working on Columbus Drive. She was followed. And we know that because I keep in touch with the detectives working on the case. I call them all the time. And I won't mention the person, the detective's name, but he's been to my apartment to talk to our family, and he said that she was followed from East Chicago. She lived in East Chicago with my grandson. And I have asked and pleaded for cameras out here. And last Friday, when all the shootings were going on, my great-grandson was in the car in the back seat, and the bullet hit the car, and it could have been my great-grandson back there. He was a baby, 2 years old. He'll be 2 years old. When I seen it, I thought my heart had dropped, and that I would have to, I don't want to bury another child or a grandchild. I live in nightmares every day. I hear gunshots all the time. People come to me and ask me, what should we do? And Robert's been good about everything. I give him a lot because he does hear us out. The mayor has not heard anything out from us. And people are tired of the gunshots every time we turn around. We can see them in our apartments. I work at 5, I leave to work, I have 2 jobs, and I'm afraid to come out because I don't know what, they're hitting our cars, they're doing something to our cars. And this is every day, every week something is going on. And we're tired of it. We voted people in, we voted this, people voted the mayor in, and he has not done nothing for the people. Yeah, beautifying East Chicago is fine, but not keeping us safe is not fine. See, I live with the nightmare. I dream of my granddaughter, and I want her here. I don't have her here. And I'm afraid for any of my grandchildren to live here now. So, you know, this guns every day, and these poor people, I live on a block where there's elderly people, and they come out and they're talking, they're scared to come out. Their cars are being vandalized all the time. We need more police. You know, we need to be safe. We're not safe anymore. And I'm really tired of it. I'm so tired. I don't sleep at night since she died. I didn't sleep the night that I found out my great-grandson almost got killed. You know, I would like this mayor not to sleep. Like we don't sleep. Please, we need cameras. If we had cameras, something could have been done. We've been waiting 10 months. Thank you.
Nanny?
Natalie Jujic, 4009 Grand Boulevard, East Chicago, Indiana. We're concerned in our neighborhood and surrounding neighborhoods at the number of property that is owned by out-of-towners. We actually refer to them as slum landlords. On the west and the east side of East Chicago, on my block, the 40th block, we only have 18 homes. 6 of those are owned by out-of-towners. That's a third. That's a third of your homes. We do have to admit that 2 of the properties are well kept. One of them is at a broken fence sitting there. The owner never comes. It's easy to collect rent when you're collecting it through the mail or through the government. But there's got to be a stop to all these people. I have friends in Lake County government, and the joke in Lake County government is when it's time to send out property tax bills, then none of them end up in East Chicago. They're all going south because homes are owned by individuals in Sheriffville and St. John and Munster. And this isn't right. We're allowing these people to ruin our neighborhoods. They don't want these people renting in their neighborhoods. They don't want this type of neighborhood for their children, but they don't care about our children. They don't care about our elderly as long as they're drawing their money. Don't keep up with renters in East Chicago. I don't rent my property. I live in it. I own it. But you used to have to pay a renter's fee if you were renting out your building. And this fee, I don't know who ended up with this fee, and you had to also fill out papers who lived in your building. Well, come on, we have one house. In 2 years, this is the third person rented. Nobody is going to tell me that someone runs to City Hall and says, I've got new tenants here. Here they are, if you need to know who they are. I think that once a year, when you have to get this license or fee or whatever it should be called properly, that what you need to do is have whoever is accepting this fee, you set up a home inspection and you go in the home. We have a home in our block that I can't be the one calling in on, but other neighbors will, because every so often they create an extra apartment in the basement. We all know code enforcement, you need 2 entrances and 2 exits. And they have an elderly couple living there. That home is ever on fire. People are going to have to answer for it, but it's too late when you lose your loved ones. So somebody needs to set up an ordinance. We need to start monitoring who is buying these homes. Who are you renting these homes to? And number 3 is so important that they do yearly inspections, because nobody is going to tell me that 2 of these homes on my block are up to code. And I don't want anyone to knock on my door and tell me that my weeds are too high, because I will be seeing them in court. Because you're going to harass individuals and the elderly because they can't maintain their law, but you're going to let the out-of-towners who are living in these nice communities bring in people in our communities that they don't care about, and you don't go after them. Thank you for listening, but besides listening, do something about this. I'm probably one of your senior citizens here in the group, and I have watched 2 exoduses of citizens from East Chicago. Your first exodus was in the 70s when the whites left. They left en masse because they didn't like the neighborhoods change. Thank you, that's all right.
Maria,
Good evening, President and members of the council. My name is Maria Velez, and I reside at 4921 Walsh. So I agree with her. I'm having the same problem. On my block, the majority are homeowners who have been there over 20 years. There's 2 houses right in front of me now, right across the street, and I so agree with you. Whoever purchased these homes has rented to 2 families, and I do believe they know each other, and we have nothing but problems and issues. The other day, Saturday, Friday night, there was a car in the middle of the street. He's arguing and fighting with somebody. Nobody's calling the police because they're elderly, they're scared. Nobody wants to call, The neighbor's directly right across the street. This has to be, I need to know if this is a code enforcement violation. They put a basketball rim, net thing, whatever, and they're shooting basketball, playing in the middle of the street. Cars fly down there, these little kids, 4 or 5 years old, riding their little bikes in the street. I did bring it to my councilman's attention, okay? And he allegedly communicated with Sandra Favela. That's how bad it got. I didn't get no response. I called the mayor's office, spoke to Irene. She said Sandra Favela was gonna call me back, asked me did I get a phone call back. Okay, that's my problem. I've been a resident over 20 years, and I so much agree with her. There has to be a stop to this. And these people are from wherever they're from purchasing, they're just wanting to collect the money. And I'm tired of it. Now the next step is, do I want to call the police and get involved? Somebody has to do something about it. And I want to show you this because I have a picture of this basketball court and it's still there. You know what they did the other day? Put it right in front of my house on my lawn. So my son and I picked it up and I moved it right across the street to their house. Why should I have to do that? Why should I have to do that? That's ridiculous. That's my issue. The other thing is trash pickup. From what I understand, in my district, it's Monday. They're supposed to pick up the trash and the recycle. Guess what? My garbage is toppling over. The people that live on the next block are dumping their garbage in my garbage. Now, I understand that my garbage pickup is on Monday. Guess what? My garbage, I came home from work, hasn't been touched. Recycle hasn't been dumped, picked up. You wonder where the rodents are coming from, raccoons and possums. I know somebody who's got raccoons in their yards. This is ridiculous. Where's people's, what are they doing with their job? What are they doing? But can I show people the picture of this?
Yeah, you can show from there.
Where?
Where you at?
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. Because this is just ridiculous. Can you all see? This is in front of my house. Can you see? In front of my house. Okay. They laid it on the lawn of my yard. That somebody has to do something. Isn't there a way that is that a code enforcement violation first off?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so who's got to do something about it?
Code enforcement, well, I'll talk to you after the meeting.
Okay, you'll talk to me?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank
you for your time.
Thank you.
Before I call the next person up, Ava, I don't know if it's by design. Did they shut off the AC in this building or what? Because I am burning up.
I like those actually the mail. Somebody's manager.
It's because of the
Can you, well, I'll talk about it tomorrow. All right, next one, Rudy Velasco.
Hello, my name's Rudy Velasco. I was here just a couple of weeks ago complaining about the sewers in Roxana, 2nd District 2. Thank you for the ordinance, for the money that hopefully we'll get, but in Roxana I wish it was a flat fee because everybody's going to have to go through hoops to get that money. Also, with these new businesses that we got coming in, did anybody look to charge them an extra percentage to help fix our sewer systems? Or is it going to cause problems in your district, wherever these new industries are coming? Are we aware if that's going to affect our problems, our sewers down the line? Did anybody look into that? And also, this increase that he wants to get for our sewer, I hope you all vote for it no. I'm out there and I've talked to a couple senior citizens. They don't want it. They don't want the money that it's going to cost. All of a sudden we had money. Now all of a sudden we can't spend that money. We're being shortchanged here in Chicago. Yeah, we look nice, but we're flooding on all our districts. We're having more crime. We're short on our police officers. I'm glad that you are having a safety meeting because it's us as a community that we have to stop this. Not only us, the citizens, but also the police. And we can't help them if they're shortchanged all the time. For someone to get shot right across the street from the police station, that's not no offense to the police department, that's embarrassment to our city. That's embarrassing to the mayor. You know what direction we're going into now. You know where we're going, from that cross lines coming over here. We can't blame it all on them right now. Us as our citizens, we have to do our part to make this stop too. But the mayor has to start listening. It reminds me of that story about the emperor. Everything, you know, he walks around naked. Oh, you look great, you got new clothes, you look great. The mayor has to open up his eyes and not forget where he came from. He has to look. Back in the day, he used to walk in the harbor. I don't know if you all knew that before. He used to walk in the harbor. I've known him for a long time. I catch him late at night walking. Oh, I'm walking in the city here. Well, Mayor, start walking over there now.
Yeah,
That's
right.
what we need. Thank you.
Elizabeth Basico? Elizabeth?
Hi, Council. My name is Elizabeth Palacio. I live at 4124 Way, and I'm here to talk to you about the census today. I'm sure you all know about our things that we need in our city, especially for the children that we all have in our city, and that we need to count everybody. Currently, the city of Chicago is at 42.5%. That's what, you know. We are working with several stakeholders and community leaders weekly to provide an update to the operations and the response rates across the city. This is conducted via a conference line every Friday at 9:15 in the morning. I'll call Mr. Morrisroe and Mr. Nicolay Elliott are on for more details and how to get involved. Starting this week and running until September 18th, the help of the community respond whenever they are, wherever they are, to the 2020 census. We are sending out census staff with PPE and social distancing to assess people to respond outside at stores, restaurants, events, libraries, and other community organizations. If you know of a location or event that would be great for to send the census staff to, please call Nicholas Elliott at 219-670-9977. He's a local partner specialist. Starting in August, we will be moving to our next operation, and that is knocking on doors. I hope we all get our communities involved, because we all need these monies for them, and we'll all do better and be better for it. And I'm done with this, but I wanted you to know that for the receipts for the elderly, if they got most of their supplies at Menards, you can go in and punch in whatever card they might have used, and that I don't think it does cash, but the date, if you remember it, you can go in and get a copy of your supplies that you purchased. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ray Castaneda. I've been trying to get a hold of the mayor for about a year and a half about the violence in East Chicago. And time after time when I run into the mayor in public, he tells me that he's going to talk to me. So every time I make an arrangement, he refuses to talk. Him and his puppets in East Chicago are blind to the violence in East Chicago, the gun violence, the gangs that flood our city. I've been helping families in East Chicago. I've been helping children in East Chicago try to stay away from the gangs, stay away from the violence in East Chicago. I've been throwing fundraisers for people who've been getting killed in East Chicago. Not one time have I seen the mayor or his puppets at these funerals trying to help raise money to bury these families or to do something about the violence in the city. My mom said that my niece was murdered, and we have these so-called cameras working around the city, but how many of these cameras are really working? If my niece drove by the police department, by gas stations, and they're still unable to catch the killer of my niece. Another thing is, when he took out fire station number 5, he took out all the firefighters. He's a bully to the firefighters. He still refuses to sit down with them. He refuses to sit down with the residents of East Chicago. He's a bully to the FOP, which is the police department. We're losing good police every month, good police officers every month. They leave to different cities for better pay, for better benefits. He says that he's trying to save money in the budget. Well, if he wants to save money, he can start with his $130,000 a year that he gets if he wants to save money. Basically, the crime out here has gotten bad. And me, I'm an ex-gang member, and I changed my life around, and I'm trying to help out the city, but I can't do it with this mayor and denying the violence in the city and all his puppets that he have on him. Councilman Franceschi had mentioned about how disrespectful it was for his attorneys or whoever it was just to walk out. That was very disrespectful. They get that from the actions of the mayor. The mayor thinks he's King Kong, and he does not have to sit here and talk to the residents of East Chicago. The gas station that he's building, there was a petition by people of East Chicago on Euclid and Chicago Avenue. The people had put in a petition. There was over 65 signatures on there, and the mayor still thinks that he's bigger than everybody in the city, and did nothing about what was on this petition. So I just want to tell the mayor, yes, you're building this beautiful city, but you're also acting like a big baby. So since you're acting like a big baby, I'll buy you some Legos to build a beautiful city that you want. But what good is the city when we got our kids in East Chicago dying, we got residents coming out and are scared to come out in East Chicago? That's all. Thank you. Thank you, Ruth. Last but not least, Deborah Balanos.
You have one more. Thomas Sisco's been having his hand raised for a while.
My name is Deborah Bolaños. I'm at 4228 Parish Avenue. I'm also a business owner at 711 West Chicago Avenue, Galaxy Travel. I just want to make a clarification. I'm not here because somebody told me to be here. I'm here because I'm addressing crime in my neighborhood, because I have a mind of my own, and I've always had that. So I just want to make that clarification, because I didn't like that comment. Now, one of the things that has bothered me, and it's very disturbing, and it's a little bit of what Ray said, is the crime. We've been dealing in our area with large groups of teenagers that have been loitering the parks and causing fights, getting out of hand. I've lived on Parish Avenue all my life. I was born and raised in East Chicago. Never had that problem before. Every night I hear gunshots. Everybody knows that I'm a veteran in the Crime Watch zone. I have a Crime Watch zone, and it was established in 2012. Unfortunately, 4 years ago, my husband passed away, and I had to care for my mom. I stepped away, okay? But I'm back. I'm ready to retire from the travel industry, and there's a lot to do. And one of the things that I see about this mayor and any leader, the most important thing for a leader to have is compassion for their people in their city. Compasión para su gente y su pueblo. And he doesn't have that, okay? That's very sad in my eyes. There is no compassion. And I ask all of you here that why don't we sit down and make a round table with our precinct committee people and council people and certain residents of the area to address the crime. Obviously, the crime in your district is something, mine is different, hers is different. Everybody has different situations. And sit down with the mayor. What is his problem? Who do you think you are? I pay taxes too. My husband and I worked our butts off to have a good life and to raise good kids for them to be successful. Every kid in this city has the right to be safe, just like a senior citizen. I'm a senior citizen, and guess what? Today's my birthday, and I'm here at this council meeting. So again, nobody told me to come here. I came here because it's time to speak out. I'm tired of some of you council members that sit back and do nothing and criticize everybody else. What are you doing? I'm doing something. And I can tell you that I'm working with my councilwoman in my district, which is the 4th, that she already started a round table. So let's start a round table all together, all of us, and bring these issues to the table. But the mayor has to be present. And one more thing, we need more police. And I'm on the side of the police department. Thank you.
Thank you. We have one more witness.
I don't know if he can.
How do we go from on?
His hand is raised. It's not muted.
Thomas, you got public comments?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I live at 5425 Reading Avenue in East Chicago, Roxana area, and ours was one of the homes that was flooded. And I'm currently taking the advice of the city of trying to have one of the check valves installed. I've had 3 plumbers come out, and 3 plumbers say it won't work because we have a gravity feed system in our basement, and it needs to have some injection fit put in, and the check valve needs to be in the backyard. It has to go back about 12 feet. And believe me, I appreciate the $1,500 and the $500, but I've already gotten a price of $6,000 to fix the problem because the sewers haven't been fixed. So all I'm asking for is a little consideration because I'm not the only one. Everyone has the same gravity system in Roxana. As a matter of fact, in Highland, they're going on their 2nd round where the city of Highland is helping people switch over from the gravity system to a bus system. It's about $6,000 for them to do that, and the city's paying 3/4 of that. So if the city doesn't want to pay to have the sewers fixed in Roxana, then I think that the city should come up with a program for us to either take loans at a low interest rate or no interest rate, or help us with the complete fixture of our homes. We can't even sell our homes the way they are right now. We have to disclose if we did try to sell our home. I put a lot of money in my home. I put almost $70,000. You could ask Lenny Francisci. We're very proud of our home here in Roxana. I just think it would be, you'd have to get engineers to fix the total problem, and the mayor has to stop fighting with the council. As far as the people being safe, I hear gunshots in Roxana. I can hear them from the south side, and I don't want to make it crazy, but I'm just saying you have to look at the whole problem here in Roxana as far as this flooding issue goes. And please take time and look at it and engineer the problem for us, because the plumbers that you offered us, they don't want to do the job. It's too big for them. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
That's it.
Hearing none, motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion made by Hill, second by Councilwoman Gonzalez. Any questions? Roll call.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Francisci,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Rancifer,
Yes.
Perez,
Yes.
Monroe, Garcia.
Yes, meeting adjourned.